What's up, Sheepdog Nation? I'm so excited to be here with you. Today is going to be a little different of a podcast. I'm super stoked about it. It is actually from a live stream that I did with Rich from Team South Florida. You can go check him out on Instagram. You can actually go on to his Instagram. Go check out the IGTV if you want to watch this podcast episode live. Thank you for being here. I love you. Let me know if you love it.
They buried me in the water and I came, I knew. Now I'm baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
Welcome to the Changing the Culture podcast with your host, me, Autumn Clifford. This is the only self-help podcast hosted by a female cop. I want to welcome you. If you loved that intro, then I want you to go to the end of my podcast and make sure you listen to that music, that tune. It's called Baptized in Blue by One Time Music. He's a fellow police officer. You can find him anywhere you can listen to music. He's amazing. I'm really excited to have you here. I hope that you enjoy this podcast episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you.
Good morning. Rich from Team South Florida again. This one's going to be a little bit quicker than some of our last ones. Let's just try to add Officer Autumn.
Hi, I'm here.
He is. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You had a busy morning.
I've had a really busy morning. My husband, we just did a canine demo because he's a canine handler for the Maine State Police. So we were just out doing an hour-long canine demo, actually.
Nice. Well, thank you for making some time. We've been talking about a lot of hard topics lately, some controversy lately. I want to focus on something really positive, and I want to focus on something that you recently posted that really struck me a little bit.
Okay.
You said no one is coming to save you, from the job. You have to save yourself, basically, right?
Yes.
You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, basically. So here's the deal. So if you guys are brand new to me, my name is Autumn. Thank you so much for having me on, Rich. It's really nice to be here. So I was a police officer since I've been 20 years old. But when I turned 27, and Rich, you know this, I suffered a career-ending injury, okay? I don't have a cool story. It's not a cool injury. It's nothing like that. It's literally one that most first responders actually have, especially police officers. It's a back injury. And, you know, ever since then, what I've been doing is I'm a life coach for first responders. And so from my experience, as well as coaching, you know, hundreds of first responders from all around the world, you know, the consensus is, you know, we just feel extremely unsupported. And what you have to understand is it's unsupported from our administration. It's not, I mean, obviously there's a lot going on in the public, but what people, a lot of like people in the public, they kind of think that we have this brother and sisterhood behind the scenes. But the truth is that there's a lot of places where we really don't have that, right? And what happens is the job eats us up. If we're not careful, the job will eat us up mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It'll rob you from your personal life. It'll rob you from your happiness. You know, because what people need to understand is, you know, we are going consistently multiple times a day to people's worst days ever. And so when you are doing that consistently, and yet there's no support from, let's say, your supervisors, your coworkers, your administration to be like, hey, we're gonna help you to, you know, to be, I don't know, a more emotionally stable. We're going to give you tools to, you know, be more resilient. We're going to do these things. We're going to give you the time off. We're not going to jam you up the ass for every possible thing. You know, when we have supportive administrations, it lasts. But the deal is we can't rely on our administrations, our agencies to do all of that for us. So we as first responders, we have to take it into our own hands. We have to take that initiative, and we just have to save ourselves.
I love it. And I apologize for not offering the introduction. I'm glad you took the time to introduce yourself. I'm sure most of our supporters know you already. We love what you're about. We love your posts and everything. So couldn't agree more with you. And it's much easier when you're in an agency where you have that support, you have that excellent leadership. Unfortunately, that does vary. I wanted to focus on a positive. So if I titled this episode anything, it'd be one word: mindset. And I just want to take a minute on each example. I've got 5 examples of people that we've recently spoken with. I'm really proud of the fact that we've got some people that reach out to us from time to time, and we're able to help some people just like you with the life coaching and everything.
Yes.
So the 5 examples are: we've got somebody that decided to retire. We've got somebody that decided to transfer stations. We've got somebody that decided to focus on positivity only because they're unable to transfer stations. We've got somebody that transferred agencies altogether. And then the last one, I tried to talk him out of it and he didn't listen to me. He's convinced he's got more in the tank. So he decided, after his retirement, he decided to start over again in a different state with law enforcement. So let's go through the first one real quick, all right?
Yeah.
This officer decided that he wanted to retire. It was too much for him. The stress was eating him up, and he had a really, really solid family foundation at home. The job was taking too much away from him and his family. So he decides to focus on his family. He got a job in the private sector that has absolutely nothing to do with law enforcement, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Nothing.
He and his family are very happy now.
Yeah. And you know, and the thing is, Rich, is here's the deal with that is we have to, this officer clearly knew what his priorities, his or her priorities were. Okay. Because this is something I you know, any first responder listening to me, listen very fucking carefully. Okay. Is we get sucked in. The job becomes all consuming right from the get-go, right from the moment we start. We are in the academy and it is the coolest thing. And you know, we literally transform and become this person. And meanwhile, we can very easily lose who we are, our sense of self, our priorities. Okay. So I just want to put in there, like, that officer, in my opinion, did exactly what some people need to do, right? They put, you know, they prioritize, and sometimes you can prioritize and not get done the job, but sometimes what people need to understand is sometimes, you know, you've been in the job and you're soured, you're done, you put your time in, you've served, okay, be done. Even if it's 3 years, you're done. Know when you need to hang the belt up, because when you hang the belt up, you know, let's put it this way. Sorry, I'm going to retract that. Know when to hang the belt up, right? Because nobody wants to friggin', you're not doing the community any good if you're a burned out, salty fucking officer out there, you know, on the streets, right? What good is that's not doing anybody any good. Yourself, the family, the community, your agency, it's not doing anybody any good. You got to know when to hang the belt up. That officer clearly did. Very self-aware.
Right. And I couldn't be any happier. They actually shared with us, they missed a couple of birthdays, and after early retirement, we'll call it, they were able to attend the birthdays. That's priceless.
Amazing.
All right. Number 2, this officer or deputy, more appropriately, was able to transfer districts. So some people say station, some people say precinct, some people say district. Whatever it is, this is usually easier at larger agencies. It's a lot harder at smaller agencies. With the larger agencies, you can put in a transfer, so to speak, and try to get to a new station, new area of responsibility. It's not necessarily, for those listening, a promotion to, say, the detective bureau, something like that. Just transferring to a new station. I cannot tell you how happy I am personally, because this person, this law enforcement officer, was really just struggling to stay motivated and happy, and the job was eating at them. They transferred, and I don't know if it's it's probably a combination, but they've got new leadership. It's a new environment. It's a new squad of coworkers. They're like a different person. I got to tell you, Autumn, it's only been a few months. They are like an entirely different person.
That's what it is, though. That's what it is.
So happy.
So happy. Yeah. And to me, I'm going to tell you again, this goes back to being self-aware enough to know I'm miserable. What are my options? So many times what we do, and I've done this as first responders, and maybe you can relate to this. What do? We pull up car to car, just like this, and we just bitch. And we'll do it for months and hell years on end. And there's no reprieve and there's no solution. But this is part of like what I was saying. No one's coming to save you, right? No one's gonna go, okay, Autumn's miserable, and now I'm gonna make things better for her. I'm gonna pluck her here and put her there. No one's gonna do that. No one's doing that. No one's looking out for me. I have to look out for me. And it sounds awful. You know, our creator is looking out for us. I believe that. But I'm just saying, like, we have to take that, you know, initial action. So bravo for that officer being self-aware enough to know, hey, this sucks, but I'm going to take action. And that came from mindset, an optimistic mindset. We struggle with that as first responders.
I will tell you, you'll be happy to hear that was one of your female law enforcement officers.
I'm very happy to hear that.
All right. The third one, smaller agencies, very, very difficult to do this. There are some agencies that don't have stations and precincts and districts, and you only have the one station, for example. We actually did a podcast last year with some officer from New Hampshire. He was one of, I think, 5 or 6 officers on the whole force.
Yeah.
So this officer was unable to do any sort of transfer, gave up on testing, became very, very frustrated because they felt that they had the experience, had the credentials, had the training, and were worthy of a promotion to the detective bureau. After putting in twice, they became very, very frustrated when other people got the position, whether for political reasons or not, to each their own. We don't know. We won't speculate. But what they did was, instead of being so bitter, so negative, and so shut down, they decided to limit their interaction with the gossip crowd, the clique that just does nothing but bitch and moan and complain. Rather, their circle shrunk from, say, 10 to 15 to 20 officers to 2, 3, 4, 5 officers. Like you mentioned, car to car. Instead of talking about the bad and complaining, now they're focusing on the positive. They're focusing on their outside the job life. They're limiting their social media. They actually deleted. I actually told them, I said, hey, check out this Instagram we're going to do today. We're going to talk about your incident without mentioning you. And he goes, damn, I wish I could, but I deleted my Instagram. They literally deleted social media. They limited their news interaction and what they're allowing to come into their lives. So, you know, to your point earlier, where no one's coming to save you from the job, it's on you. They're in a tough spot. They can't transfer like the other officer did. They took it upon themselves. What do you say about that? I mean, I'm happy they're happier now.
Yeah, it's innovative, right? It's very innovative. Again, it's that self-awareness, that mindset of, so am I gonna just let, like, here's the thing is, you have to become self-aware enough to know what it is that you want. Do you need to get out of the job, like we discussed that first officer? Like, is that what you need? And I think that's really important, you guys. And I think that we all have to look in the mirror and ask ourselves that question. I think multiple times throughout our careers. I don't really think it's just one time or after one incident or whatever. I think what we need to be doing is constantly being self-evaluating. People don't understand. I mean, this job, chews you up, spits you out. That's what this job does. As a first responder, what are you doing? You're on the front lines and you're constantly responding, right? We are constantly giving. Remember, we cannot pour from an empty cup. Very important. I say that to my first responders constantly. If you do not put yourself first, and it sounds selfish, but you need to be selfish, and that it goes for your family, because you have to have a full cup to be able to pour. And you're, as a first responder, we're pouring in so many different directions: our family, our personal life, right? Our friends, and then we have the job and our coworkers. We want to show up and we want to be the best backup possible, right? And then we want to be the best officers out on the road. And so I think that what's really important is being able to just say, you know what, I can't, like, I'm miserable. Okay, so why am I miserable? Let me get to the root cause of why I'm miserable. Number one, so important. A lot of times it looks like it's the supervisor and it looks like it's this thing, but what's the truth? What is the truth? Why are we miserable? Let's get there. That's what this officer did. And then this officer was like, hey, all right, you know, social media is driving me nuts. It's bringing me down. I can't be dealing with the social media. Some of us can, some of us can't. It depends. Okay. And, hey, Kay, And so I think that's really important. But I think that it's just that self-aware, and changing your mindset, and distancing yourself from the negative car to car, becoming a witness. When you can not be so involved in the inner politics and the inner shit in your agency, and you can take a step back and go, wow, my sergeant's really burned out. Wow, my coworkers are fucking burned out. Holy shit, everyone's stressed out, but it looks like they're like humor, like they're so funny all the time. Like they always have a joke. That's what it looks like. It looks like, they're assholes and they're crabby and they're short, but actually they're stressed out. And when you can become the witness to that, then you can I believe then you are going to have a much clearer mindset to be able to make decisions like that. What do you think, Rich? What do you think about it?
I love everything you said. I love that. And I found myself kind of saying something similar without using the same analogy that you did, where you can't pour from an empty cup. I've been saying to a lot of people, you can only give so much, and how much can you keep giving? Right. And I think it's a very similar analogy. Every agency is going to have some amount of politics, some amount of negativity. And I would echo exactly what you just said. When you start to consume yourself with things that are outside of your control, I mean, listen, let's be blunt. And some people have called me for saying this, but I'm going to say it like it is. There are some agencies that have corruption. Yeah. There are some agencies that turn a blind eye to certain things. If that is where you work and that's outside of your control, you need to focus on yourself. You need to focus on the positivity. You need to get the job done and move on.
Absolutely.
So, I love that officer was able to do that. There was another officer. The fourth one was somebody transferred agencies altogether. They worked for a smaller agency, and perhaps the last statement I made about working in a corrupt place, if you can start over, this person switched from a small agency to a larger agency. And I'll be honest, it was in Florida. They went from a police department to a sheriff's office. The size difference from a small police department to a large sheriff's office allowed them new opportunities. They quickly advanced. They have never been happier.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that. I've had to move agencies. And I'll tell you right now, sometimes it's the best thing that we can possibly do,
Yeah, I would caution people that the grass is not always greener. But
nope, it's not.
At the same time, I would say it's really up to us. It's so easy to become bitter and upset. And it really is up to us to focus on the positive.
I agree. Totally.
The fifth and final one was the officer with more in the tank. And
yes,
this guy surprises me. I got to tell you, I tried every which way. I told this guy, I said, man, you worked for 20 years. You gave your life. You dedicated service. You answered the calls. You did all the stuff. This person worked a whole career, and they made it. They didn't get, critically something bad happened to them. They survived. And now what do? They switch to another agency. They start over again.
Well, because you have to understand, some people, they live, what's this person's personal life like? Do you know?
So I will tell you, they have a solid family foundation. I just can't see that this is not taking a toll on that family. But he put it blunt. He said he's got more in the tank. He doesn't need the job, and he enjoys what he does. So when he has 2 back-to-back bad days, he will hang it up and leave.
And you know what? Honestly, sounds like he's got a good mindset, a good perspective. Look, I mean, sometimes, once you become a cop, you don't really want to go do anything else. Like, sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes that's how we look at it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's how this person is looking at it. Like, fuck that. I'm not going to go do anything else. This is what I've known. I've put 25 years in. Like, I'm going to go do, be boots on the ground and do it again. And I don't know. I mean, if they've got the right mindset, Rich, I think that's okay. What do you think?
I tried to talk them out of it. I tried to talk them out of it just because this day and age, and I don't want to go down this road, but I'm going to say you're one call away from your whole entire life being ruined. Whether you do everything correctly, by the book, legally, morally, and ethically, you'll be one call away. So I don't see why you'd put yourself in that situation. But
I agree.
I won't take more of your time up, but just to close this off a little bit, I'll give you, any last words, anything you want to share about what you're doing, yourself, your own situation and everything, and the mindset that we focused on today?
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. I just want to obviously thank you for having me come on, and thank everybody who's been here listening, even if you just listen for a minute or two. What I'm doing is a little unique. I haven't really met anybody else doing what I do. I am still a police officer. I still have my credentials. I work part-time in Maine now. I'm just not full-time. But what I'm doing for my full-time is I am out here and I'm coaching first responders, but I'm also, what I've recently been doing, Rich, and it's been amazing, is I'm actually certifying people who want to coach first responders. And the reason why that's important is because nobody knows us like we know us. And there's a bad stigma going and getting help, seeing a counselor or psychologist, and we do not replace that. Okay. And I will be honest, I've seen counselors and I love them, and there's definitely a place. And I just want to say that to everybody. But a coach is, you have a coach not because you're fucked up or feeling fucked up. You have a coach because you want to go to your next steps. You have a coach because you want to be better. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense, and it goes back to your quote about it's on us to save us from the job. Nobody's going to save you. So that would be an example of taking action yourself.
100%. That's right. And absolutely. And so that's what I'm doing. And if anybody feels like you want to binge, I've got tons of free content. I have a podcast called Changing the Culture. If you enjoy, opening up your Instagram and seeing inspirational quotes and ways that you can pretty much unfuck your head, then come and hang out with me. That's really what I'm good at. And again, I just really appreciate you, Rich. And we'll have to do this again. We'll have to come up with like some different topics and just, kind of just randomly go off on them together. That will be fun.
I welcome it. I was against the whole Instagram live thing for a while, actually. And then I started doing them, and they've been very interesting. Sometimes the comments are very interesting. Sometimes when we do the controversial topics, we literally just go off of what comes up in the comments. But I wanted to take the time on this one, and I love the timing of your post. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Yeah. Your post, with the timing, everything was just aligned. And I wanted to share at this particular time when so many of us are struggling in this profession, just the negativity, and it's just so difficult for some. 5 situations, 5 examples, 5 separate police officers, law enforcement officers, deputies, with 5 entirely different situations, and they made it. And the bottom line is they are now happy, all 5 of them.
Exactly. And they all did it, and they all took a different approach. Yes. I think that's what's really important. And I'll be honest, that's why we have a coach. That's why you should have a coach. But even if you don't have a coach, you can still benefit from the content. And that's why, like, the mindset is just so important. People, we talk mindset, and everybody thinks that what we're talking about, Rich, is the warrior's mindset, right? When we're in law enforcement, it's the warrior's mindset. No, fuck no. I want you to survive the job on duty, but I'm also highly concerned about you, surviving the job off duty as well. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hey, before we wrap this up, Doc is joining us. Hey, Doc.
Hello there. I'm so glad I caught your live. I'm so impressed and thrilled to hear about her coaching plan and encouraging other first responders to take good care of themselves and offering to assist. We need you, and we need more of you. Please go forth and train more people to do what you do. Seriously, because the stigma is still real. The guys and gals don't want to come to me because I'm the therapist, and they're like, I don't want to go to the shrink, but I preach what you do, but you can reach them better than I can.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I mean, I do appreciate that. But I will say this, and for everybody listening, there's always, how there's such a place for you and what you do, and we need you too. And so I think it's cool that we are working together. I think it's nice to be put around people who are doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. Oh, so much. And I thank Rich for his support, and checking on me and going, how you doing? And
yes.
Whoa, I've had some struggling days. And I too had to step back from the job 2 years ago, had to go part-time. And I'm only now able to ramp up a little bit more. The California Highway Patrol has been hammered with OISs, and I've been called to help. And thankfully, I'm in a much better place to do that because I took that 2-year step back, take care of my own sleep, take care of my own nutrition, take care of my own positive vibes, all of that stuff, and seek my own help because I was burned the fuck out. So I'm thankful.
You listen to Autumn's advice. It's on us to save us.
Yep.
Absolutely. Oh, the first time I heard "No one is coming to save you" from what's his name? The Can't Hurt Me guy, Goggins.
Yes.
That was the first guy that finally told, I was suffering and I was crying and I was feeling bad for myself, and I hated that I had to say no to more cops that needed my help. And I heard his voice say, "No one is coming to save you, Dina. Get your ass up and fucking figure it out." Boom. So you can get well and help more people.
Boom. Huge.
Boom. Right? It's we have to take the oxygen mask first. I'm no good to anybody. We are no good to anybody if we're not taking care of ourselves first. And guess what? I hate to say it, but the department isn't going to do it for you.
Hell no. No.
Right? Your spouse isn't going to do it for you. Your neighbors aren't going to do it for you. They're going to pat you on the back and say, "Good job," or they're going to criticize your work, but they're certainly not going to make sure you take care of yourself.
And Dina, I wonder, and if you can comment on this, I'd really love to hear this, but let me just ask you this. I would go as far as to say that our leaders, they're the most fucked up out of all of us. Think about it. They've been doing this job 25, 30 years. They need to get the fuck out. And they perpetuate our problems.
Girl, we could go on for another hour on that topic alone. Let me tell you.
What did I do bringing the two of you together?
What did you do?
You started something, Rich. You started something. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with leaders, and I had to turn it into money to them to get them to actually get off their ass and do something for their department and their guys. And I'm sick to death of going to a department after another fucking suicide.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's when they want to act. Oh, that's when they want to do suicide prevention training. That's when they want to spend thousands of dollars on having a therapist come in and make suggestions. No. You missed the fucking boat. You needed it 5 years ago when your staff was dying and asking you to help them.
Yes.
I'm sick of it. I
think Dina froze. I think your camera froze. I will tell you, with what she was saying, though, with the suicides in the agencies.
Oh, man.
We can't rely on the agencies.
No,
we can't rely on command staff. We can't rely on. That's on us. If you find yourself in a bad spot, there are more resources now available than ever before. And I am damn proud of our organization. Not to pat ourselves on the back, but
you should pat yourself on the back.
But literally, we took on this initiative that we never planned on taking on. And we simply put our phone number out there. We opened up our inboxes and we said, if somebody wants to talk, we don't need to know your name. We don't need to know your agency. Let us try to help. And we've had a lot of success by people just simply venting, simply opening up.
And Richard, I do the same thing. I have a group. It's a small paid membership, but anyways, it's full of cops, and that's what they do. We just have each other to bitch and vent, and everyone says, "Thank God for you guys. I just needed to come in. I needed to just bitch and let it all out, and I know I'm not going to get jammed up the ass now. Like, I'm fine."
That's it.
Yeah. I really don't encourage some of the agency peer support teams that include. I have to preface this. That include command staff, supervisors, and affairs, things like that. However, there are agencies that have smaller teams of good people that have instilled the trust and the confidence, and they can detach. Yeah. And they have been very successful. But it's on us. I mean, we have to reach out, support each other, recognize certain signs of each other, and push those people if we can, just to get the help. Dina, what were you saying? You're getting a lot of praise in the comments, by the way, for helping out CHP.
Yes, you are.
Oh,
Amazing.
it's an honor. It truly is an honor and a privilege to be welcomed and be a welcome support and help. I never want to be that one that they're like, oh, don't talk to her. Here she comes. I'm on the side of the officer, and I will do whatever it takes to end suffering, whatever it takes.
Mm.
And I'm thankful that departments, and especially CHP, they're doing such a good job. They're doing a much better job with rallying around their officers and gaining a lot more traction with their peer support team. And they include me in their peer support responses. But I have a much different obligation. My obligation is to not only my license, but the officers I serve. So I get the suspicion or the fear of peer supporters being in the pocket of administration. From my experience, that's not what I see. Peer supporters genuinely just want to help their fellow officers.
Sure. And I will tell you, touching upon the therapist or the counselor route, what we found, and I could say personally, some of the advice I've shared and received back is you need to find the fit for you. So
Yes.
if you go to a counselor, if you go to a therapist and there's no connection, no trust, no fitting, move on.
Exactly.
You need to find somebody that gets you, that understands you, that you vibe with, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's right. And trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Yeah. And I say that all the time. We trust our gut on the job, but we're not doing it off the job.
Deanna, thank you for your dad. The comment over here, my dad's a supervisor on peer support, and so many people go to him. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I just figured I'd randomly do this live real quick, and I'm glad you're able to jump on, Dina. Autumn, I appreciate you jumping on.
Yes.
I just wanted to touch on the mindset because everything I see on social media right now is negative. Every single thing.
So true.
We actually had a member of the media recently send us a private message. I hope you guys are doing okay. Everything that you guys have been posting has been heavy.
Yeah.
It's tough. So it's on us. It is on us.
It is tough, and I will say that people kind of get pissy a little bit with me because when you come to my page, it's Officer Autumn, so you expect to see a ton of what's going on in law enforcement. But the way that I look at it is I've created an environment, and I know, Rich, I know that you guys do this, and Dina, I haven't seen your profile, but I'm gonna be following you immediately after this. But but the thing is I try to keep it. I want people to come and look and be like, okay, get sucked in, and not be like the officer who had to delete their social media accounts. I think we really need to be paying attention to that. Like we could be the ones perpetuating it if we're constantly sharing all the shit that's going on. It's like all the negative stuff. It's like, wait a minute, let's really, let's think about who's following us. And it's our fellow brothers and sisters on the front lines, and they need reprieve. And whether they know it or not, I want to be the person who's giving them the reprieve. You know what I'm saying? Just by looking at my shit, they're like, all right, I'm thinking about something else now, which is good. That's what we need.
Exactly. It's a tough place to be in when you're a public servant, and you'll find on my page, I separated for a little bit. I have another page, first responder to first responders. And honestly, I'm sick and tired of dividing my life. Like, yeah. This is who I am. This is what I do. These are the other things I love. I don't represent a department or an agency. Yes, I'm a public servant, but I'm speaking for myself. And I'm very, very cautious to share all of the information on the backside that I encounter, because a lot of the stuff I know and do is confidential information. So I have to wait to see what gets published, unfortunately, and then share that way. For instance, with the San Diego police officers that were just killed in a wrong way driver, husband and wife detectives with the San Diego Police Department were just killed. And I knew before it was announced, but of course I couldn't say anything because I had to wait,
right.
Right. And so it's tough. I don't use my page as unfortunately not yet use it as a page to encourage officers and other first responders. Right now I'm still sort of hanging low, like, how do I integrate all of this together? I'm not sure.
You will, though. You'll figure it out.
It'll just
Thank
happen.
you.
It's taken me years.
And I'm so glad you're doing it. I can't wait to see your page and hear your podcast. I'm so excited to meet a fellow warrior in the wellness mission.
Likewise. And you know what I really love to do is I'm actually compiling a resources page and so on my website. So I want to get your information, and Rich, as always, want your organization's information. So because I want to just circle back around, I just have one last question. Rich, you said that so does your organization, are you still offering the ability for our officers to call and just talk, or like
100%. We've got some of our volunteers have actually taken some training, and it's more than just coaching or just peer support. They've actually taken some legitimate training in different sort of critical incident stress debriefing, peer support, trauma, things like that. And what we found is when people call, they need to be, there's a personal preference. So we'll have a call from somebody that wants to talk to a female. We'll have a call that somebody wants to talk to a male. We'll have somebody that prefers to talk to somebody who's retired. We'll have somebody that prefers to talk to somebody who's got military experience. And we can't offer it all, but with our small organization, we've been able to find that fit, and we've even gone outside of our organization. For example, we had somebody that had I think how to say this. They had some combat experience overseas, and then they were involved in a shooting. And they wanted to talk to somebody that had that level of experience overseas to compare and contrast. We didn't have somebody in our organization that fit that need, but we knew somebody outside of our organization that did. And it's like what you said with building resources. You just have to bridge the gap, connect the dots, tie 2 and 2 together, and just unite people. It's all about getting people help. If you're brave enough and strong enough to reach out and say, hey, I want to talk, I want to get some help, we have to help those people get the help they need.
Yes.
You know, we don't care. Team South Florida, we don't care where you work, what agency you are, what your name is, what your experience is. If you're a first responder, you need help, we have got to get you help, and that's it. We've had firefighters reach out. I don't know a damn thing about being a firefighter, but I've got a handful of firefighters that have been through a lot of stuff. And I am very quick to say, hold on a second. Are you okay if I send you over to this person? This person touches base with this person. And there you go. Now you've got a contact. I mean, that's what it's about.
I want to just tell you too, we should really talk, because maybe my coach, I certified first responders to be coaches. You know what I'm saying? And I have a firefighter, actually, he's a coach, and I know, I mean, that guy's been through some shit, and he was a captain, or he was a chief in the battalion. I don't know. Anyways, but I'm just saying, like, we should definitely connect. But like, I also want to have, it's Dina, right? Deanna?
Yes, Dina.
Okay. Dina. I want to have Dina. I want to have you too, because I mean, hello, we all need a doc. Maybe we can get together and talk about, I think we kind of need to start a little bit of an awareness and initiative for our administrations that really need to teach them, what we can do, get in, I don't know. It's just about changing the culture, but I think
you're a braver person than me with that. I'm at the point right now where I want to tackle going from the bottom on up, because from the top on down is where a lot of the stress and problems are coming from.
Yes, 100%.
So I'd like to see some of those toxic ones just retire, get out of the way.
Yeah.
Let the good people move on up and take their spots.
That's right.
Yeah. And just as an aside, Rich, I'm more than happy to provide any kind of training, or just for free, just like an hour-long training if you're needing to get more first responders to be able to answer the phone and provide support. I'm more than happy to help in any way that I can.
Love that.
All right, we will talk to you all soon. Be safe, and thank you to those who tuned in and watched.
Yes. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Be safe.
In closing, thank you to Autumn. Thank you to Dina. Thanks for those who tuned in and provided comments and everything. This was a really nice change of pace. It was nice to cover something positive, and it just goes to show you that 5 separate situations from 5 separate people, separate individual law enforcement officers, and at the end of the day, we are in control of our own mindset, our own positivity, And it's up to us. We cannot rely on agencies. We cannot rely on command staff. We cannot rely on other people to get us to where we need to be. We like to make it a point to not just say we will never forget, but demonstrate we will never forget. We like to honor an officer that was killed in the line of duty on the same date as the podcast episodes. It is currently June 5th, 2021. We're going to go back to June 5th, 1985. Police officer Johnny Corbin of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department in Missouri was intentionally run down by a subject after issuing him a $4 street cleaning violation. Officer Corbin was driving a tri-car at the time and had driven further down the street when the suspect got into his car and intentionally drove into the vehicle at a high rate of speed. The suspect got out of the car and began kicking Officer Corbin until a bystander subdued the man and held him for authorities. The subject was ultimately sentenced to life in prison. In March 2014, the 72-year-old suspect at the time was denied parole for the 6th time. Officer Corbin was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. He is survived by his mother, his daughter, and he was 42 years young. May he never be forgotten.
They buried me in the water and I came, I knew. Ha ha. Now I'm baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. They buried me in the water in the Holy Ghost. I came out with a badge and gun and a heart that said never run. I signed up for a job you wouldn't dare to do. This ain't no green screen movie, don't compare the two. We look at your actions in the elements and everything relevant. If they line up, prepare to pay the consequence. You do dirt, you get cuffed, no bluff. It's ignorant to think we will shoot with your hands up if you the police. You feel the world is against you, like every call you go to, people trying to tempt you. Well, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. I ride on the devil, I ain't scary and I ain't worried. You want my life, come take it, it's gonna be a fight. I take you to the light, like Will and Bright. I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I can't explain the pain when I see a name on the wall. All I feel is rage, put me in a cage, let me brawl. Sometimes I can't help but cry, like why did he die? I know it was him, but it could have been I. What about the kids? What about the spouse? Yeah, now who gon' put food inside them babies' mouth? It's a bigger picture when the officer down. Domino effect, Blue Nation, family, country, and town. The media don't cover us. Well, maybe Fox, cause MSNBC and CNN surely don't care about cops. Politicians more concerned about protecting the legal instead of laying the law down and protecting the people. Let me get off my soapbox before I curse. I don't seen way too many cops riding in hearse. Well, I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. If I'm faced with a mission, I'm gonna complete it. If that means being deleted, I live with the credence. I do this for the combat vets and Leos. When I'm suited, ready to go, it's either friend or foe. Only Lord knows what my future's in store. I only kill with the hope to see more, so God don't close that door. If I take a life, it's him or me. with the hopes to survive, not be a good tree. I go in situations that you cannot imagine, deal with things that you cannot fathom. No if buts or rather, I'd rather fight for a cause than live for nothing. So when you read my headstone, you know I died for something. You hypersensitive shit complain by justified force. You blame the cops first, that don't work, you blame the courts. But I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit, I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit, I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior